Rolling in. So let's say good morning.
Good morning.
So today is October 7th, beginning of our first meeting of the month, and it is Economic and Community Development Month for Rotary International. And typically we would have had the Get Downtown month, but it's been canceled, obviously. That definitely was economic development. We are doing some exciting things for community development this month. But in addition, today is October 7th, and it's considered World Day of Bullying Prevention. Who knew? So I thought that was appropriate. I guess when you start school, you work with kids not to be bullies. But in honor of our upcoming elections, which actually our voting here in Sonoma County begins October 31st. The polls are open, or to drop off your ballots. I thought we haven't said the pledge in about a quarter. So let's have Jack Mallinson. Can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pauline is our craft talker today, so she will be inspiring us.
Yes, I will inspire you. The world is indeed full of peril, and in it there are many dark places. But still there is much that is fair, and though in all the lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the greater. J.R. Tolkien.
Thank you.
I knew Lance would like that.
That's good.
Now, he's the writer of The Hobbit.
Right.
And
Yes, he is.
Okay, thank you. And I don't, Colleen, do you see any visiting Rotarians other than?
I do not see any visiting Rotarians. So that makes my job easier today.
Chris Call has a beautiful moon behind him.
He sure does.
Vineyard.
Look at that little Chris with his little moon behind him.
So today is a club assembly, and we have a lot of interesting things to cover. So the first one would be Jay Beckwith. Committee reports here, but I don't know if this goes under new business or committee reports, so I stuck it under committee reports. As part of our Community Development Month, we are partnering with the city of Healdsburg for a very exciting event. So Jay, would you take it away, please?
Sure. This is about as exciting as death and taxes, from the standpoint that the trick or treat this year could be a super spreader event around the country, not just in Healdsburg.
Do you want me to share the slides?
In a minute. Yeah, why not? Who needs to look at my kisser? So go ahead and share that lead slide. Statistically, what we're going to try and do is bring the kids together to have a COVID-safe event. And that's essential because statistically, we know that there's going to be one or two people in the event because of the number of people going to go through it that will be COVID positive. The alternative is we don't do anything and there's this complete mix-up of who's going to give out candy, who's going to, there's whether or not the kids can go. It's a mess. So the idea of a trunk or treat is that the kids decorate themselves and or the trunk of their vehicle, and they parade through the parking lot, which is behind, I guess would have been, it's called the West Parking Lot. It's along the railroad tracks where the farmers market is normally held. And cars are parked along there, and the kids go through, and they look at the cars, and they look at each other, and they have a fairly normal display of costumes. We will be giving out the bags of treats. We will collect. You want to slip to the next slide, Lance? So we'll collect the goodies, and we'll package them much as we did on the 4th of July. The city will take care of all of the street closures and provide sound, and they'll register the cars so that people will check in. And the next slide. They'll check in and then get positioned along the route. Now comes the fun part. Since we know there's going to be somebody in there that's probably COVID positive, we're going to have to monitor it. So we're going to need some adults, and I would suggest they get dressed up in like nurses' outfits to remind people to be COVID safe. We'll have an hour to get that all together. My hesitation is that it's going to be a lot of people, and we're going to have people park over at the City Hall and across the street in the dirt parking lot and so forth. The reason the city is interested in doing this, and I've kept kind of bringing the subject back to that, is that this is the kind of creation of new societal norms that are going to be in place for at least the next couple of years. There's no question that it's going to be hard to get COVID under control because there's so many people in the country who don't believe it still after all this time. And they're going to be reluctant to follow the rules. And if they don't follow the rules, we're going to have COVID. So this is going to be going on for a long time. And the city has taken my suggestion that we need to get people disciplined about this. We need to have the kids learn how to be COVID safe in a congregate setting, particularly with each other. I mean, it's not so bad about if you can keep them under control, but geez, this is, everybody's in costume and excited and so forth. So that's the gist of the program. The complications come in terms of numbers. We have no idea. We already have, through the wonderful contribution of the community church. Andy's let me know that they've already got 60 volunteer trunk-or-treaters that are going to be showing up. We're going to try and pull that meeting together tomorrow to collaborate with them and the city. There's a thing going on in the internet where we're talking about getting PVC tubes and sending the treats via tubes. And I think that may get attention. So there may be a whole movement in the city of people wanting to do that as opposed to do our trunk or treat. So the city, tomorrow we'll talk about that, but the city may outlaw giving out treats from home. That puts an enormous burden on us. We're certainly likely to see 500 kids. So it gets to be strategically a fairly big issue. Given all of that, this is a a situation that every town in the county is going to have. And it may be that we want to reach out to our other clubs and say, hey, you guys jump on this because it's a problem that's going to happen all across the county. So let's, Nancy, you want to discuss this a little bit? Lance, you want to pull down this slide so we can see each other's faces that get into the discussion of this? It's a complex issue.
Well, the main things we need to decide, we need to get candy. We need to get the bags packaged and figure out ways to distribute the day of, how we're going to safely do it. Beyond that, Jay, you want to understand the club's feeling about physically being involved in something like this, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I've reached out just high level to the Noon Club because they were willing to help us with 4th of July. And I'd like to reach out to this organization called HYPE, which is Healdsburg Young Professionals and Entrepreneurs, to try to get them into our world with their younger demographic. So as far as I think getting help, I think we'll be able to do that. It's just how people feel about being out in public, especially considering the current outbreak in our nation's capital, right?
One of my concerns is messaging. We'll want to go out through at least next door neighborhood. And Chris, I'd like your help with this in terms of how we message it. I don't think we want to put it in the paper. All we need is for the word to get out and start getting people from Windsor and Cloverdale, and you can see how this could get completely out of hand if we don't message it correctly to the right audience. What do you think, Chris?
Sorry, yeah, I think we can get this out through the Facebook posts and next door, whatnot.
One of the thoughts I have is that certainly parents are going to want to, I thought the message could be, hey, instead of buying stuff and putting it out their door, buy the stuff and take it to the recreation center. They're willing to collect it so that when we go to bag it, it'll all be there. But we may want to suggest that they also make donations, and we will do some non-candy buying, some little toys and that kind of stuff. I know that's not traditional, but the whole idea of giving out tons and tons of candy sort of gets to me. So that might be part of the message, right? I think the way we talk to the community as a club is going to be really critical. This is going to be where we come to the front of mind for the entire town.
Hey, Jay, since you're going to have registration, can't you and the city put a limit on the number of families that participate?
From a standpoint of cars, certainly, but it's going to be open to the whole community, so there's going to be a lot of people walking through. How do you say no to kids who are coming to trick or treat in their costumes? I've been up on Johnson Street for the last 7 years, and I know that it is a huge event for the Latino community. We get at least, I've never seen so many Latinx kids. It's an amazing event for them. So we need to be prepared for that. Yeah, are you guys in?
This has the potential to be as big as the makeup Halloween that we had last year on the plaza, which was gargantuan.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay.
Yeah.
Are we gonna create a pathway so there's one way in and another way out, so now we can control the flow of goods and services?
Yes, the idea that I'm putting forward is that the parking lot will be marked. So there's a lane for travel and 2 lanes on either side for standing, because people are going to want to stand safely distanced and talk to people across that. So yeah, that's again why we're going to need monitors on each of the lanes. So there will probably be, I think there's like either 6 or 8 lanes or serpentine curves that'll have to be monitored. And there will be some traffic flow issues. I mean, kids are going to have to keep on moving because there's going to be a tremendous line. This is going to be like the Rose Parade in some respects.
Well, if we can keep people moving, because if we have a bunch of people standing around, then we are creating a situation where people can come in contact. And I thought that was one of the issues of being no closer, or not so much no closer, but no longer than 15 minutes with another person before the COVID starts striking.
Yeah. I think that's going to be, our monitors are going to have to keep the crowd moving. You're absolutely right. And you've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they're seeing their friends, and they're going to want to stop and talk. So we're going to need cooperation from the parents to understand how things are going. I mean, as I say, Chris, we're going to have some communication issues that are major on this thing.
Everyone's going to be masked. Is that correct?
Everybody's got to be masked. They can't come in. We may want to do temperature checks. Again, this is about teaching the community how we can congregate safely. It's really about what are the norms that we can implement that will keep our community safe as we come together, because we're going to have to do that at some point. I mean, Christmas is coming.
I would worry a bit about public backlash from people who are concerned about gatherings like that. And they're very active on social media and can start flame wars. And so we just need to think through this carefully if it's going to be done.
That's right. That's why we have to have the message with all of the questions answered up front, right? If you go into a meeting and you can anticipate what the objections are going to be, and you're prepared to respond to those questions up front, we're going to be in a lot better case than if we're backfilling on those concerns.
I think all the Rotarians need to wear duck masks.
Right.
Get out early.
Yep.
Our 4th of July promotion. The city is, we're supposed to have another meeting with them this week. Is that right, Jay?
Tomorrow.
Okay. And the thing is they were, from that last email I saw, they had put this idea before the business community. And the business community seemed a little annoyed that we were pulling kids off the plaza. And I thought, well, guys, isn't this supposed to be something that we're creating for safety purposes and avoiding the thing that has happened year after year with no control? So I was a little confused about the city's or the business community's response.
Well, what I saw this morning was that they were pleased that we were taking the heat off of downtown.
They being the city?
Yeah, the vendor, the businesses downtown are pleased with this idea.
Oh, good. Okay, but because they're right next door. We're they're just in that parking lot. It's not like it's at the other end of town. So okay, is there any other discussion on this? Because I think the next step after we meet with the city will be to form the small committee to hammer out the details.
I think it's encouraging that we're doing this kind of stuff. I know it's tricky, but honestly, it's really lovely to see that we are really engaging the community like this, because it is something that I think helps build up people and make them feel a little bit less like we're in the middle of a pandemic. And plus the fires, and, you know, I just think it's nice to do a little bit of goodwill as long as we can do it safely. I think it's really lovely that we're doing these little things, so.
Well, one of our goals, Nancy and I got really committed to the idea of becoming relevant to the community. And this is it in spades, baby.
Yeah. Jay is the forever idea guy, along with Archie. Archie has good ideas too. So your ideas are really much appreciated, and the club's support. We have a small crew today, but we'll be having to wrap, I want to wrap the rest of the gang in here. There's so much
Nancy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Internet connection.
Is that Diane?
Great. It's a great idea. I'm super excited about it. When Jay, when you're saying we the city and Rotary's just assisting? Maybe you mentioned this earlier and I lost it.
I don't think I understand the question completely.
Is this a Sunrise Rotary event, or is this a City of Healdsburg event and we are assisting them, or are we total partners in this? Because I'm kind of thinking back of like what everyone's saying about safety. I'm just a little like the idea. I think it can be done safely, but I agree that I don't think that we want pushback and negative press on.
Diane, that's a really great point, and we'll push
not
that.
To say that
we'll push that at our meeting tomorrow. That it is a city event, and we'll bring in some other clubs to give us some cover. As a person who's dealt with risk management, one of the first principles of risk management is spread the risk. So the more organizations we get in under the guise of the city, the more the city has to step up and take the responsibility for the event.
And it was our idea, and we approached the city, and then they jumped on it with us. And of course, we put the major risk in their hands too, because we can't just go out and do this without their blessing. So we are partners, but it's. Does that answer your question, Diane?
Yes, thank you. It does.
Okay. So Larry Orr, do you want to just talk briefly about the bike tour, just where we are with it?
Yes, thank you, President Nancy. A number of us have had some Zoom discussions. We've talked with Mike Brennan at Mill District. We've talked with the publisher, I guess, of the California Cycling Magazine. We've tentatively tried to identify when would be the best month of the year to have this bike tour, whatever year we eventually relaunch this whole thing. So we've kind of decided the latter part of July, I believe. We've gotten some input from the Mill District folks, which, as we all know, are very much into cycling and that whole environment, as well as the California Cycling Magazine folks. So we think that we're looking for sometime the last weekend or the third weekend in July. We understand that we need some separation between July 4th and the bike tour, but it needs to be in the summer so children, kids are out of school and the whole family can attend. I think some people feel that it's primarily a local event with residents of Healdsburg attending, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. I remember when I used to participate in the registration every year when the chamber did this, and they had 1,000, 1,200 people. People would come from almost every state in the U.S. to attend this event. So yes, we have a lot of people local that like to participate in that, but properly advertised and promoted, I think we'll get a lot of people from the South Bay, the Bay Area, Southern California, and points all the way east from there. So we are thinking about July 24th or whatever, somewhere in there. We want to try to get back to, it's the same date every year. The chamber, I think, got sidetracked when they started changing the date of the event. That became a significant problem, and I think that really had a lot to do with the declining participation. So if we can have some time to breathe deeply between July 4th and the bike tour, and organizing the two events, I think is very, very different. I don't think this is going, the bike tour has as many probably moving parts as does July 4th. So we are looking to have some folks raise their hand and be willing to participate on the planning committee for the Healdsburg bike tour. And my feeling is that let's think about maybe trying to do this in 2021. That may be fairly optimistic, because I read something the other day that was talking about how many 747 jumbo jets filled to the brim with a vaccine would be necessary to transport a virus vaccine, when it arrives, to the world population of, I don't know, 8 billion or whatever it is. It's like 800 planes necessary, and I guess there's maybe 100 747s in existence. So once we get a vaccine, my concern is how fast can that be distributed just in the US, 330 million people. So I am not convinced that that is all going to happen by July of 2021. If it does, fine. We will have already gotten a lot of the details in place. If not, we can use that planning for 2022. But we need to get started in having some checklists put together, some assignment of who's going to try to coordinate this effort, that effort, this effort, etc. So, in addition to our fabulous President Nancy, I would like to be a part of this committee, and I'm looking for people to raise their hand or send me a text or an email. 477-9609 is my cell phone. If you're willing to participate in some number of Zoom sessions to talk about the bike tour, we need your help, and we solicit your participation. So please let me know, 477-9609, that you would be willing to participate in the planning committee for the Healdsburg bike tour. Thank you.
Mary. Yeah, and California Cycling Magazine, we'll be getting back together with them again, because they're already meeting with people who have put off their event till next year. So plans are in the works in other parts of the state. So with that in mind, Diane Booker, membership. You are muted, Diane.
Just typed in chat that I'm interested in the Bile Tour Committee. Should read Bike Tour Committee. So, good morning. Quick update on membership. We've got a couple things we're focusing on. We have quite a few red to blues that we're working with. I think there might be 7 even. So Leanna is helping out with that. And so we're gonna work on trying to get everyone red to blue as soon as we can, and then come up with a ceremony. We don't know where. Nancy and I spoke earlier this week about maybe being outdoors on the plaza or somewhere, so we can, give out jester hats and pins and So we can make kind of a public celebration of it where we can attend. You can attend if you like. We can post it on Zoom. We have also had 3 folks pretty recently express interest in joining our club. So we're following up with those 3. A couple of them have attended meetings, Zoom meetings. So we'll keep you posted on those folks coming in. And then Nancy and I are going to be meeting. Nancy has as you know, always has a short list of people that she'd like to bring into the club. So we're just going to do some pretty informal things where we meet outdoor at Catelli's, outdoor on Plaza Street, just kind of invite people in, chat a little bit about what we're doing here in the community. And we have some really great things that we're, talking about, including what Andy's doing, and Colleen, helping with the homeless and the Halloween and all kinds of stuff. So I think that even though we can't be together in person every week, the club is obviously doing great things. And I think a lot of folks are kind of interested in that right now, how they can help out. So that's about all I have.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions?
I know, Diane, one of our goals, could I share the screen a second? Can I share my screen, Lance? You're muted, Lance.
You should be able to share your screen already.
Okay, we'll see if I'm able to do this. Oops. Is it sharing?
Yes.
Okay, let me find my, I wanted the goals. I wanted to just share these really quickly because it ties in with what Diane was just saying. At the beginning of the year on July 1st, that first meeting we talked about the club goals that the board has agreed, we've all agreed as a board and to try to achieve these. We want to increase our net membership to 37, and we know that we're going to lose a few members just from certain things that are already going on in their lives. So we've got a little bit of we're going to be in the negative zone here in order to get caught up to 37. It's going to be more than 4 that we would like to add. One of Diane's committee's goals was for every member to sponsor or invite a guest to a meeting. So we really would like to encourage that. I know it's hard when you're not out in public and meeting people, but dig deep and think who might enjoy this. Another one was 100% member participation in activities. And that doesn't mean every member of the club in every activity, but over the course of the year, everyone participates in at least 1 or 2 things. 3 community service projects. So we're already on our way to overachieving that one. With 4th of July, we did the Foss Creek, or the Memorial Beach cleanup on the 26th. We had about 7 of us there doing that. We have a district, we're trying to make sure that we get people in the club to attend our district training and conferences. We've got one coming up this month that I will be sending a link to. It's a district conference. So I will send information about that. That's on October 24th. We would like to do at least 4 club socials. So we've had the wine tasting, which was really fun, great attendance. I know of 2 of our color groups who have already had socials. There are 5 groups, so we're still working on getting all those groups to meet. And then once everybody is met, Bert will reconfigure those groups so that everybody in the club has a chance to meet with different people over the year. Dan Erickson will be working on the achievement of our $4,000 to the Rotary Foundation Polio Plus program and $1,000 to the annual fund. And I know he will be reaching out to the members on how to do that. Andy and Chris already have some great things going with the Interact Club. And another slide I have is about the homeless bags that that Interact is working on gathering. And the Club Runner website, we're doing great there. Larry Orr and Dan Erickson got together and got the help of Vicki Norris to bring it up to current activities. And Jay and Lance and I are going to be meeting to get it a little, and Chris Call too, to get it a little more future focused. So I'm feeling really good that we are working on achieving these goals. So we have a little work to do, but we're just now entering the second quarter of our year. So onward and upward. Let's see. Craft Talks. Did I just jump ship here? Oh, you know what I wanted to do? I'm sorry, I wanted to talk about the Andy. I wanted Andy to talk about the SRAG project with the Healdsburg High School. Are you there, Andy?
I am here. So yeah, it's a little confusing, but it's not actually SRAG. It's under the umbrella of a program called New Gen Peace Builders. And New Gen Peace Builders is a global youth peace education program that emphasizes the role, value, and impact of young people ages 14 to 24 in achieving a peaceful world. So New Gen Peace Builders is a program that has been approved or okayed by the Rotary Peace Action Group. So there's a partnership there. There's an involvement from Rotary. But the idea was that they brought in another organization to partner with called the Institute for Economics and Peace. And the idea that peace, economics, and the environment are all related. So working with this Institute for Economics and Peace, they came up with a curriculum that can be used by high schools to address environmental science and peace issues with students. So we reached out to Healdsburg High School to see if they were interested, and got a positive response from Principal Halliday that yes, they've been working on making AP environmental science and offering at the high school. So they said that yes, that they were interested. So to make all of this curriculum and online material available to the high school required a $500 donation. And we had a very generous club member that stepped forward and donated $500. So this material will be made available to the high school. There is an initial 3-hour professional education session that is available for the teachers. And Jay and I will also try to attend just so that we can also learn about this project together. It's completely new to everybody. So I told Mr. Halliday that we'll learn together. And as we go through this, if there are additional ways that we can support the high school with the subject matter, then we'll see what we can do. So that's what it is.
I think it's just excellent. I'm so happy, Andy, that you just stepped forward and grabbed the bull by the horns. And I appreciate them.
I really didn't. You may recall that at the start of your presidency, you sent me an email saying that you were really interested in us doing something with New Gen Peace Builders. And I filed it away in my, I don't have enough time for this, let the next guy do it file. But it kept coming back up. And this particular project with the curriculum for the students got my attention. So it wasn't me.
But you made the connection to the schools, and they were excited. And I mean, it just takes a person to contact somebody else. So I'm thrilled. Thank you so much. And to the member who made this possible. So there's another, I'm sorry about my clunkiness with the screen sharing, but I'm going to show you another thing here. Here we go. The board agreed to a project for Sonoma Family Meal, which is an organization that during the Tubbs fire pulled together funding and bought food from local restaurants all throughout Sonoma County and particularly in Healdsburg. And those restaurants prepared meals for evacuees during the Tubbs fire. And then this happened again at the next fire, I think Kincaid. Then it morphed into COVID this year for people who are they're hungry. So the program jumped in with COVID, and then guess what? We're back in fires again. So Sonoma Family Meal is working now on two fronts. So the Noon Club decided that this would be a worthy district grant request, and they have come up with about $2,800, $1,400 from their own treasury, and then $14 from the district grant for $28, and then our board approved $250 from our treasury. And what we're needing to do now is ask our membership to reach into their pockets and contribute the remaining $250 so that our club will be contributing $500. And the district will match that $500, making ours $1,000. So between our club and the Noon Club, we'll be donating $3,800 to Sonoma Family Meal. And the district did approve our grant this week. So it's now incumbent upon us to come up with the balance of the $250 from various finding and recognizing over the past few weeks. I believe we've come up with $120. So we need the balance of $130 to meet that goal. So if you can contribute $10 out of your pocket, if 25 of us came up with $10, we would match that $250. So I don't know if anybody wants to volunteer now. I can send out a request after the meeting to have everyone help fund this project. So that's that. I wanted to let you know about that. Let's see. Oh, okay. Then Andy, you all sent. You may have all seen Andy's request from the Interact Club for care packages for the homeless. The club is working with Reach for Home, and these are the items that are needed. And I know last year I went in and cleaned out all my canvas bags, not all of them, but all the extra ones had been piling up for their reusable bags. But I would ask everybody to keep this list handy when you go to the store and throw in a few things and drop them off at Andy's office. Andy, when is the date by when you would like these in your hands?
Hold on a second. I was chatting with everybody, caught me off guard. The goal is to deliver them before Thanksgiving. So if I remember correctly, I believe the deadline is something like November 13th.
Okay. We will try to hammer on this every week. I know these are small items. So anyway, please keep this in mind, everybody. Thanks, Andy. And then I just wanted to go up here to our calendar. Next week, Mike Brennan of the Mill District will be speaking to the club about the progress of the project. So that will be interesting. And as Larry mentioned, we met with them, and they are willing to be our partners in crime for the bike tour this year if we do it. On the 21st, we do have a person from the SRAG organization speaking to us about that project. On here is the district conference. It's going to be in Eureka, but it will be a Zoom meeting, and I will send out more information on that. And then the 31st is the Halloween trunk or treat, and we hope to have as many members as possible to help us with that, physically and behind the scenes, whether it's packaging, goodie bags, or whatever. November, Edward has secured Mike McGuire to be our guest speaker on November 4th. Diane Bucher's sister, Mary Roddy, is going to be speaking to the club about genealogy, which should be interesting. So November 18th, the following week, we will be dark because on the 19th, our club hosts the SCARC meeting. And I have a connection to the CAL FIRE air attack team, and they will be our guest speakers. So that should be very interesting and relevant to the whole county, considering what we've been through this year. And that should be a very interesting presentation. So SCARC is a Thursday night. It'll be from 5:30 to 6:30. And Archie has agreed to coordinate this. And his one request is that we all have a local beverage in our hand. It could be, tap water from your well, it's local, or a lovely bottle of Sonoma County wine, hopefully Ruid or Bucher. Then, the turkey trot is officially canceled this year, but I know that Skip is because of the issues with COVID, but I know he is going to be trying to encourage people to just go out and run that morning, walk, whatever, and possibly request donations just out of our pockets. And he will be donating funds to local organizations, and I'm pretty sure that will also include Drew Esquivel. I don't know why the 31st still is appearing on here, Halloween trunk or treat, but it doesn't need to be. But and then the board meeting. We need to talk if the board wants to meet that week. It's the day before Thanksgiving, so we will figure offline how to approach that. So, pardon me?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Craft Talks. Colleen, if we have time, we will hear from our beloved Colleen today. Bert is the 14th. Larry is the 21st. Jack, November 4th. And Tom Tevendale, as part of your Red to Blue. We would love to hear from you, but let me know if this is not comfortable or you'd like to switch dates. This is not set in stone. So that is that for that. So let's see here. Let me stop sharing. How are we doing on time? Oh,
it's 7:51.
So Colleen, maybe do you have 5 minutes?
I certainly do.
Okay, so hang on one second.
I'll keep track of my time.
Okay, I just have to play that with Colleen in mind.
I like having some walk-up music, as it was. Good morning, everybody. This is a little bittersweet because this is probably my last craft talk with all of you. So I just want to say thank you, first of all, for letting me be part of this lovely club. And I just didn't know anything about Rotary until I spoke at one of the Rotary meetings, and that started this whole chain of events. So be careful when you come as a speaker, because you never know how that's going to end up. Anyways, just a little background on myself. I was born and raised in the Bay Area, and I actually, in growing up, went to all Catholic schools, including college, which is pretty interesting because now I'm an Episcopalian. But anywho's, I did graduate from Notre Dame with a bachelor's degree in business. I went to, and I did that actually after I was working. I was the first and youngest female to take over as CEO of Ampex Credit Union. I was 27 at the time. So that was quite a challenge, as you would imagine it would be, to be a 27-year-old CEO with a $38 million organization at the helm. But I learned a lot, and from there, I went and worked at a credit union in San Francisco for the Recreation and Parks Department for the city of San Francisco, and eventually made my way up here because I owned property up north, and this is where the traffic stopped. So that's why I decided on Windsor. I moved up here, and there was no organization at Reach for Home, as most of you know. I formed that from volunteers for St. Paul's Church. So I started that agency in 2014, and it has grown to what it is today. So anyway, so yeah, I'm just really grateful that I had the opportunity to be here to do this work. As you all know, I'm leaving my post. My last meeting with you guys is probably going to be the 18th. November 19th, I know we're doing SCARC, but that is also the night of Dinner in the Vineyard for Reach for Home. It's at 7 o'clock, so it kind of dovetails from SCARC to Dinner in the Vineyard, and that's going to be my last day of work actually for Reach for Home. So I hope you can join us and just get caught up on what's happening. I hope to introduce the new executive to all of you at that time. But it's been quite a ride, and I love all of you very, very much. And it's going to be very hard to leave the area, but I'm on to a new adventure, and we'll be relocating to Washington, the state of Washington, Larry Mills' old stomping ground, for at least 3 months, just to kind of recover and recoup. And then I'm hoping to build a new organization built around trauma and incorporating care of trauma into the schools. It's going to be a huge project. I want to do it nationally and globally. And I'm wanting to put together a team of, I'll call it the Tribe of 12, to work on this project, because I think it's critical to the success of our future generations if we don't start dealing with the trauma that children are experiencing growing up and giving them the tools they need to overcome that trauma. So that's about it. I know I'm only 4 minutes in, but that's okay. I don't want to bore people to death. So.
Colleen, Washington is a very big state. Where do you think you're going to be in Washington?
Larry, I'm looking at Whidbey Island, Gig Harbor, Port Townsend, those kinds of areas, Poulsbo. So I'd like to be on the water so I have a view of the lake or river or whatever. So that's, but I don't want to be in constant rain. So
good luck.
Balance that. But I'm looking forward to it, Larry.
That seems like a non-overlapping set of wanting those views and not rain. That's.
There is a little bit of a banana belt in Washington. You can kind of, certain locations have less rain than others, and it could be from one block to the next. From what I understand, there's a lot of microclimates. So I just am kind of trying to stay in the not raining all year long section of Washington. But it's a vacation home, so it may not be my permanent residence. I'm just going to rent my house here in California for the next year at least, just to see how things go. So
great.
On the Olympic Peninsula, Squim.
Yes.
The name of the town.
I know that.
True banana belt.
Yeah, that's one of the places I'm looking to, Doug. So I'll let you all know where I land. I'll zoom in from my new location and give you a view.
Well, you will have, maybe we'll all come up and visit you.
That would be lovely. And also on, not that you all care, but on October 22nd, this month, I'm getting my plate and my screws removed from my fall that I had. So the last vestige of the fall will be taken care of on the 22nd. So.
Yay. Many things to celebrate, Colleen. Not celebrating your moving away, but that's trauma. So we all need to have trauma. We can be your first
my guinea pig.
Trauma of you leaving. All right. Well, if nothing else at this moment with Colleen, I thought we would have a few minutes to just see how everybody's doing. Find my little thing. So these topics are more about like picking one, not having to answer all of them. Let me grab it. Am I sharing screen again?
Yes.
That was Colleen's theme song right there. All right, let me find it. Oh, wrong month. Oh, there's the Who. All right. So we've been talking, and it's, you know, one club in our district is doing this bi-weekly chat with the members, where it's not a regular meeting, but they check in with each other on like one evening, and they have people just talk about things that are going on in the country, in the world, in our community, how they're feeling. So we would just like to touch base with everybody, and I can pick names randomly. I have a little line bag here full of names, and if you guys can think about maybe one item on here that strikes you, you know, how are you doing with the smoke? How are you breathing? You know, the isolation is, how is that affecting you? I know we have one member, Lance, who's in hog heaven up there, loving his perch. You know, how is wearing a mask going for you? Would you be amenable to meeting outside 6 feet apart if we can do that? And you know, what's changed in your life? What have you learned during this time? Have you created a new hobby or something new that you weren't expecting, or if there's something else on your mind? So I don't need you to answer all of these questions. If you could maybe take a minute or two to share with us, if you're willing to. If not, just say you have nothing to, and we will move on to someone else. So
Nancy, you may want to stop sharing your
questions.
Screen.
What?
Stop sharing your screen. There you go.
Did you see them? Okay, everybody? Right?
I think you shared that you had the wrong page up.
I did?
Yes.
I can throw it up real quick.
Yeah, we couldn't see it. We only saw my wild thing.
Well, I sent the question, so I'm going to pick. I told you I'm clunky with it. All right, first name, Lance. Lance, you're on.
You're muted.
Juggling too many different windows here trying to get the questions up. We're doing a little better with respect to the smoke. The smoke got pretty horrific down here in Mark West smoke basin. I think the nearest air quality station, which is just down the hill from me, recorded a score of 500 one of the days.
Wow.
So that, fortunately, from firefighting during the Tubbs fire, I bought some commercial P100 respirators. So I spent a couple of days actually wearing those down to get the trash. But otherwise, we got a new really high efficiency air filter to deal with the smell inside the house, and keeping on. Fortunately, no evacuations. We were within a quarter mile of the evacuation zone, but did not quite reach us. But we did have a good view of the fire. Certainly a couple of different nights we could see the direct flames over Calistoga, and the first night we could see the glow over Santa Rosa. So not really conductive to good sleep.
What's your background? Is that the smoky fire air?
Well, it's actually from Star Wars, but I thought it was appropriate looking.
Well, thank you, Lance. Let's see. Who else is in my bag here? Where is it? Tom Tevendale.
There we go. Let's do these in order. Fire, smoke, not great.
You can just pick one.
Okay. Yeah, masks, not a problem. We used to live in Tokyo. We're used to wearing masks. Next.
That's it?
Just pick one. I just picked one, so we're good.
Go, Tom, go.
But you're back home now. Everything's back to normal in your neck of the woods.
Yeah. We're all back. We're all back. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Let's see who's next here. Oh, he's not here. Archie.
Well, we're just kind of hunkered down and doing what we can do. And the biggest thing that has changed is my wife has something else to complain about, and about all the things that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing. So other than that, we're doing what we can and trying to continue on.
Now, I know that you are going over to Starbucks.
Yes, occasionally. That's one of the things she complains about.
Has your becoming more susceptible to getting COVID, or she doesn't want you leaving the house?
I'm not sure. So I think she needs to complain sometimes, and I need to listen.
All right. Well, thank you. Let's see who's in here now. Nope, he's not here. I threw Ciro in case he appeared on her screen. Doug, Dr. Doug.
Well, regarding masks, I find myself frequently forgetting them when I take an occasional trip out to the store, get halfway into the store and say, something's not right here. It's just a hard thing to remember to put it on, not being one to do that. I am going out a little bit more, maybe going to the store once or twice a week to get something that I believe that I need, but I think it's more just a need to get out of the house, take the dog for a ride frequently, and maybe we'll sit in the plaza alone on a bench with the dog, just the two of us watching the other dogs and other people going by, just for something to do and to have some contacts.
Nice. And your family, you're still getting together with your family?
Oh yeah, I see my kids, and they're all virus-free, supposedly, as much as anybody can tell. We're all being very careful.
Okay. Well, and you're embracing your trophy. I mean, that's sitting on one of your chairs in your living room?
One of my best friends. I talk to it all the time. Don't let
Be
this
careful
happen.
when it talks back.
We will look forward to seeing how you decorate it for next year's pool. Andy.
Work life has been back to normal for me now for about 3 months. So team is in the office and we are open. We have fairly strict rules regarding social distancing and using hand sanitizer and wipes. But we're giving people the option. If they want to handle business over the phone, we can do it over the phone. If they want to come in, they can come. The challenge is some of the other things like having an Interact Club meeting. The enticement for young people at the high school is pizza. Pizza works, so you can't do pizza. And of course, now we're dealing with recruitment for the youth exchange program, which is also a challenge when you can't have a orientation meeting at the high school. You can't hand out applications directly. So it presents some challenges, but glad to report that we do have a candidate that we're going to interview tonight. So looking forward to reporting back to the club on how that works.
Yeah, that's exciting. If there's a way that we can do something to help entice the kids to show up to a Zoom meeting, I know, like a $5 gift certificate to Starbucks or another local place, maybe Amy's Wicked Slush. Let us know. We can get.
No, actually, yeah. President Nadia came up with something similar. We bought some gift certificates to local restaurants, and if she has a drawing once a month. If the club members show up for a meeting or participate in something, they get their name is in the raffle.
And we could adapt that to our club meetings. Yep. Also, if you would like to have Nadia and the group host a meeting, I'd love to do that. So,
okay.
She could have her bring her dad.
Exactly, yes.
We discovered that Steve is in an exercise regimen on Wednesday morning. So I told him about Lance. Lance moves his regimen to another day. Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
Bob's not here. Gee, I'm picking all the people who are not here. Edward. Okay, Chris Call.
Hey, well, I really haven't been all that much affected by the situation. I haven't missed a day at work since COVID started. Recently, we got back to our tennis routine and doing that all with safe distancing and able to get out around the town and do a little bit of outdoor dining, which is fun. Always wearing our mask when we need to. So I can't complain too much. It's kind of a first world kind of problem situation. So I'm happy that I'm here in California and where people are responsible for the most part and doing what they need to do.
Well, and Chris has generously offered to wine tasting for the wine group. And he introduced us to a very lovely person new in his life named Nancy, not me, different Nancy. So we look forward to getting to know her some more. I think what I'm going to do right now, since it's 8:10, I'm going to ask everybody if they would mind letting us know how they feel about meeting in person, if we are able to do that in a well-distanced situation. We don't have a place yet, but just kind of moving in that direction. If we could hear from you all, I'll call on you. Dan Erickson, can you unmute and let us know how you would feel about meeting in person, distanced?
Yeah, I would do that. We've been hosting distanced events at our house with family and friends, and I'm comfortable with that. So, okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Andy, how about you?
Yes.
Diane? Okay. Tom Tevendale, how does that make you feel? Oh, you got a thumbs up. Okay, cool. Colleen, for the duration?
Yes, and I also just wanted to briefly mention that myself and Will and Diane Morton all had birthdays or have birthdays coming up. So I will donate $40 because I'm 40 to the club, and because Archie made me 4 chairs for our house. So in celebration of that, I'm going to give $40 to the club. So thank you. And yes, thumbs up for a meeting.
Okay, Chris Call. Thumbs up. Jack.
No.
Okay. Chris Cameron. Thumbs up. Mr. Calvert.
Absolutely. I think real quick, like Bob Mosby, his wife, Jeannie, and Steve Rude did a great separation, staying apart, and it was a great wine event. And that's the way to do it. Got it right.
So back to the no, Jack. If we do an in-person meeting, we would try to do it hybrid. So we would also have a Zoom going at the same time to not exclude anybody. So that is a big consideration. Sean Shields.
I'm good. I can do it.
Okay.
As long as we separate 24 feet.
24. Put you behind the bushes.
Okay.
Doug?
It's good.
I'm neither here nor there. I'm very reluctant, given my risk factors, to be out with unnecessary exposure.
Okay, thank you. And Larry Mills? Okay. Jay?
I'd be good with a composite meeting, but with COVID, I'm doing an experiment. You guys probably know that I'm a little bit of a science geek, and so I've abandoned soap to see what happens with my skin biome. And so probably you don't want me in a meeting.
Your point is well taken. I'm not coming near your house. Okay, Larry Orr, how about you?
I'm a little wary of doing that because as Doug mentioned, I second that. With my health history, blood clots in lungs, respiratory issues, circulatory issues, etc., I've tried to be really, really careful because I believe I'm a prime candidate to catch the virus. So I'm a little wary of it, but I must admit I enjoyed the wine tasting that we had. So I might be willing to try, but don't be surprised if I don't show up. Makes me nervous.
Yeah, and if we do something, there wouldn't be tables that we would be sitting at. We were imagining just chairs in a large, distanced setting. Archie,
I find that I really, really miss our weekly in-person meetings. I had no idea how much I would miss us not being able to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Archie.
I'm on the fence.
Okay. And Mr. Cottrell.
I think you'll be seeing me on a screen.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody just kind of hanging in there with our unusual meeting today. I want to have assemblies about once a quarter just to be able to talk to each other and catch up on things. I'm encouraged by the things we are accomplishing, and I really appreciate everybody showing up and keeping things moving along in these really strange times. So we will look forward to seeing Mike Brennan next week from Mill District, and I will be in DC, but I expect to be on the meeting. It'll be 10 o'clock for me, so I will have been able to sleep in. So hopefully you all be there. May have little hoodlums running around, but love in the time of COVID. So anyway, with that, I will close the meeting and say, have a good one.